All right, welcome back to Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buck What You Heard. You follow me, I will follow you back. And normally we are on Wednesdays, but I thought I would kind of switch it up a little bit and see if there may be another day we can try to do Buck What You Heard. Um,
AKA Gene doesn't like the Wednesday bug, everyone.
and I am joined by my co-host, esteemed colleague, my man KB. How you doing, man?
Good, good. It's always good to be back. Therapy sessions ready to go. A lot of stuff to talk about as camp
Oh
comes
yeah,
around
man.
the corner.
Yeah, camp is just about here, man. It's crazy. And I don't know. I've been kind of like out of it, as far as, social media and keeping up on everything and just now getting in the swing because normally I would just find stuff to talk about in off season. We would talk and we would go through and we get ready for camp. And now this is like this is an important season. I'll put it that way. If you are a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, this is a very important season right here because, Tom Brady, this could be the last time we see him in a Bucks uniform. I would venture to say yes, but you don't know. We don't know what the future holds, and
He's
uh,
playing that game too.
yes,
He's playing that. Hey, it might be my last year. It might not be my last year. I might retire again. I might
yeah,
unretire. He's playing it. He's
yeah,
self aware.
yeah, absolutely, and I think we all are. And as Bucks fans, we should be enjoying the ride, regardless of whether your guy plays or your guy doesn't get any playing time. We have to enjoy this. We have to enjoy this season and make the most of it, as much as we can. Uh, for me, camp is going to be uh, a a glimpse into next year, possibly next season. So getting to see some of the players that we don't normally see on the field and could they potentially help out this team or could they potentially help out this team this year? I don't know. What are your thoughts? I mean, and then we're gonna definitely talk about the schedule because we're getting closer and closer to that part of it. And the schedule is some people are saying it's a tough schedule. Other people are saying, oh, it's not that bad. For me, each game has to be played. So I'm not gonna stress about it. We'll watch the game and we'll see what happens.
What was once thought of to be the hardest part of our schedules, that first 4 weeks,
Right.
the national media will tell you, oh, what happens if Todd Bowles goes 1-3 or 0-4 or best case 2-2? I mean, there's a lot of storylines that are going to play into those first 4 weeks where I don't see
Yeah.
how the Bucks are even honestly worse than 3-1.
Yeah.
So this don't listen to those four letters on channel 27 if you live in Tampa. There's a whole lot of stuff going on, and I think it's pretty hilarious that both like the Bolts and the Bucks are kind of in that same territory right now for Tampa Bay fans.
Yeah, that's I don't know, man. I'm not worried. I'm not one of those people that's like, "Oh man, we're going to start out slow," or I'm taking each game as it comes and I'm going to appreciate this because when you look back on where the Bucks have been, and I know I've said this countless times over the years since especially since Tom Brady's been here, when I look at where the Bucks were and where we were as a fan base and when you talk about the pit of misery and it defied logic how Bucks fans and I promise you Bucks fans are some of the most persevering fans I'm going to go pre Jason Light fans. I can't really speak on the other ones because they haven't really endured some of the things that us Buck fans have endured. But I'm going to say this and please don't take it the wrong way. I'm being totally honest here. um, when I think about the Mercer scare, when I think about Raheem Morris going out to the clubs with the players, uh,
Young
you know,
ears.
yeah, it's just right now I'm enjoying this. I mean, this is heaven for me, knowing that anytime that Tom Brady's on the field, we're in the game, and this isn't a situation where we don't know. You just don't know, but we know that he's not going to go out there and just heave a pick six, and he's doing his best not to put the defense in a bad situation. So It's not, you know, despite what everybody may think, man, just get out there and enjoy the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bucks fans more than most can understand the lack of quarterback play. I mean, the whole history in terms of the only quarterback who's ever signed an extension with the Bucks is Tom Brady.
Yeah,
That speaks for itself. But I mean,
absolutely.
we had a quarterback turn the ball over 40 plus times, including 6 of them for touchdowns for the other team, and still went 7-9. That to
Right.
me, like that tells you those building blocks were there, but whether it was kicking role woes or quarterback woes or defensive woes, sorry, Vernon Hargraves, never gonna forgive you for that one. Like whatever the case may be, it's just like there hasn't been the era until the past 2 years where like everything clicked. I mean, heck, even 2020 things didn't click
Yeah.
always. 2021,
Yeah.
everything was a lot more consistent. You just hit the worst team at the worst time,
And
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 that's
I
sometimes
and
just
I
how it works.
and I think leadership, it plays a huge factor in all this. Something that the Bucks have not had, especially on the offensive side of the ball for a very long time. Someone that the team can rally behind. I'm trying to think.
Well, we're a defensive
Yeah,
organization. I
yeah,
mean,
this is a
even back in
defensive
the 80s,
organization.
like
I mean, just think back. I mean, as far as you can go and think about the quarterbacks, there's never really been a consistent quarterback that commanded the locker room the way Tom Brady. But again, he's a once in a lifetime player. So I don't think it's a fair assessment to really use him.
yeah, and we're in a sport where like, what the Lightning are doing, for instance,
Right.
is unprecedented because
Yeah.
you're in a sport that's very physical where people get hurt. You're in a salary cap era where the whole point is you're not supposed to maintain your teams.
Right.
And to go 3 straight years to I mean, second let's say the Bucks, let's say they fall short this year, to go 3 straight years to the second, third round of the playoffs, like, that's the kind of stuff,
Right.
many franchises, including Bucks fans especially, should know that you gotta hold on to those times, man.
Yeah,
Because it's not gonna
exactly.
be like the Lightning. Like, you're not gonna have, 7 years in the conference finals out of 11, been to 3 or 4 Stanley Cups, win half of them, go have the chance to go for a trifecta. Like, oh,
Yeah.
those Tom Brady Patriots teams, that'll probably never happen again.
Yeah, I just don't see it. Again, he's just one of those players you can't replicate him, and they don't. I don't think they'll, like you said. I don't think that'll ever happen. But just trying to get on an even keel here. We will have a special guest on later on. My man Cody from C3 Podcast, Carolina Panthers
Panthers
podcast.
land.
Yeah, we will be talking with somebody from the Panthers and getting an update on what their team is looking like, what they're shaping up to look like going into camp. And I'll continue to do this throughout the weeks where we get somebody from the division and we come in and actually kind of discuss the schedules and what their teams look like. I'll even have somebody from Atlanta, believe it or not. I know the sky is burning or whatever, but yeah, it's going to happen. I think it'll be a
Atlanta, I think, has the hardest schedule in the
yeah,
NFL. I mean, if you want to talk about Atlanta possibly getting a quarterback next year, I mean, I think they're in that prime position.
yeah, absolutely. But they'll find a way to screw it up. They will. They just do. And if you guys don't know, I don't care for Atlanta. I've not cared for that is the one team. Everybody else is, I don't like the Saints. For me, it's Atlanta, and it has been since we entered the NFC South, and they just have just been on my bad list ever since then. They pretty much replaced Dallas. They were neck and neck with Dallas, but they've since replaced Dallas. Dallas is a close second, but outside of that, no, Atlanta. Just I don't care. Um, okay, here's an interesting question. Donnie Sellers is asking, what do y'all think of the draft and undrafted free agent signings? We talked a little bit about that last week, but I'm satisfied with the draft. I think they address some pieces, but right now I think the most important thing is to see these guys on the field and see if they can produce and will they help this team to get better Are they upgrades over players in the previous position, or where do they stack? So it's going to be interesting to see how this all falls out, how this all shakes out. But I think they hit on a lot of pieces that they really wanted to, and I'm good with that.
I mean,
Got to
this
trust the
is
process.
yeah, this draft class is essentially to me like the perfect B because it's like, you didn't have all the consensus big name guys, but I mean, who the fuck was Ali Marpet 6, 7 years ago? Jason Light finds, probably a Ring of Honor guy in the second round from a Division 3 school. I mean, you got Luka Decky, who's basically kind of like that, just a little bit more nastier than what Ali is. I mean, Rashad White. I mean, we've had our fair share of running backs that haven't worked out in the draft, but from everything that comes out about the person, about the player, it seems to match up pretty well. Logan Hall. I mean, with the assigning of Akeem Hicks, I mean that's a stopgap solution for 1 year. Kind of what happened with JTS last year. Kind of just let it all work out.
Mhm.
The draft class, I mean, you're going to have some contributors and some long term gains. That's all you really are looking for. And then we got some special guys in terms of undrafted free agents. I think particularly the wide receiver position. I mean, we see this every year. There's a Victor Cruz who comes out of nowhere.
Right.
There's these guys that are maybe short shifty that find that place in the NFL, whether if it's a return specialist or I mean, Cooper Cup was a third round pick, but like
Yeah.
all of these small players that people just pick apart on the surface. I mean, we have a guy who probably or his broke all kinds of receiving records in the NCAA, but he's 5'8". What can he do in the NFL? Like, I think there's enough stuff to watch, and the
Mhm.
Bucks don't have very many needs, so it's just like who's going to win that left guard role? Who's going to be the backup running back? Who's going to be the backup middle linebacker? Like, you know,
So the big the big question, and I know everybody's asking, is I want
or
to get
who's
your
the backup
thoughts.
quarterback?
Who are who are
If you
your
really want to ignite some fans.
your five wide receivers in order?
I mean, Tyler Johnson has to come ready to
Let's just
play.
say this. Let's say that Chris Godwin is healthy, comes back, he
Well,
rebounds
we know
back.
who the big three are. We got Evans, got him. We got Gage.
Hmm.
Darden, I'm just going to throw out because he's more of a returner at this point. I mean, if you just had to ask me who's the best five right now, I'm honestly going to give it to Grayson and Perriman for
Yeah,
4 and 5. But I mean, Scotty, Johnson, all these Darden, they all have a chance. But if
yeah,
you had asked me right now, gun to my head, I've seen Perriman and Grayson do it consistently.
yeah, yeah. And I have to say that Perriman has played his best football in Tampa. Um, I,
Literally nowhere else.
Anywhere else he's gone, whether it was with the Ravens when they drafted him, or
Jets.
the Jets, it didn't matter where he went. Was he with He wasn't with Cleveland. Where he was with
I
three?
think we got him. He like I think he tried out or was in there for preseason, but I don't think he like made the run.
Yeah,
Rashad Perriman. I'll pull
yeah.
this up.
Because I have a friend that's a Ravens fan, and Rashard Perryman, he looked like he was about 50 when he was drafted, and that's the only reason I know him, is because I was like,
Oh no, he
oh,
spent a full year in Cleveland before he
yeah,
came
okay,
here.
that's what I thought. I thought it was something like that. But again, it wasn't enough to make you remember him. And like I said, for him, he was the number two receiver for Jameis Winston when everybody went down with hamstring injuries, and he did pretty decent. So there's that. But again, that's a pretty low bar. And but again, he produced at that time. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think we know Scotty probably just has the biggest bang for the buck.
Yeah.
Johnson, if he could become consistent again, he could get the edge too because those guys also have youth. I mean, Grayson, undrafted guy, track guy, like, we saw the
I
video of
love Cyril Grayson.
ball bouncing off his helmet, like is his like first like pass ever. Like, I mean, that 4 and 5, we're probably gonna keep 6, especially with
Yeah.
no Gronk, I feel like.
Yeah.
So
But again, and I want to get to that too. I mean, because you're going to have to replace that blocking. That that is
it's
huge.
where
And
I
and,
think
and
Perriman
again,
and Grayson, I think, come in.
I can't stress this enough, that what Gronk did as a blocker. I know we made jokes about it and people said this or people said this, but if you actually go back and rewind the tape and watch him, you watch his footwork, you watch his technique. I mean, he was an effective blocker and he did it in such a way that it wasn't noticed by the majority of fans. The casual fan didn't realize, just how helpful he was for that offensive line. And I'm really hoping that, the Bucks can find a way to kind of cover that up, especially getting help for that offensive line, because there will be times that I know that they're going to need help.
Well, sources say to help out the offensive line, what the Bucks are trying to do is trade for Jimmy Garoppolo to be the understudy for Brady again and take on all $25 million of his contract in order to make it happen. So shout out to you, Dan Cilio, reporting to NFL Network.
Oh my goodness. So well, you shouldn't even brought that up then if that's your source.
Well, I see everyone in the chat basically asking Trask or Gabbard, Trask or question mark.
I think
So
I'm gonna say this. You're gonna need to pause that until next year because a
pause
lot.
it until Brady's gone. That's all.
Yeah,
I don't want to even
yeah.
hear. We heard it this offseason. It was, oh, Gabbard or Trask. Fuck Gabbard. Trask isn't ready, or vice versa.
Listen,
Gabbard hasn't done anything. Trask, it's his time. And it's like, you got fucking Brady.
yeah,
No one's
because
quarterback unless Brady's gone.
exactly, and it shouldn't even be a conversation. And I just don't see Blaine Gabbert starting in the NFL ever again. Uh, he's that fallback girl. He's the girl that you go out on a date with, and she's fine and sexy, and you everything's going good, and then the date deteriorates, and she ends up leaving you. So you call your fallback girl, and hey, need to kind of get with you here and see if I can come and hang out or whatever. That Blaine Gabbert. I'm serious. He is. I mean, look what he was in Tennessee. When he was in Tennessee, it was the same way. Blaine
Well,
Gabbert
people
was
are saying Jameis and all these people had way too many offensive coordinators to begin the career. Gene, he had 9 in like 8 years for his
okay.
career. So that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. If you're going to apply that logic to all these other quarterbacks, let's apply it to Blaine Gabbert too.
yeah.
That's all I'm
I'm just
saying.
saying he's a fallback girl. That's just what he is. I'm sorry. I mean, he's not going to be. He's not. I mean, let me ask you, point blank, Blaine Gabbert leading the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to the Super Bowl and winning.
Nick Foles did it, so I can't doubt anyone to throw a 3-game stretch out ever again. It's just so impressive. I mean, obviously I'm going to say no, but
I
I
mean,
mean,
when your first mind, as soon as it pops into your head, no.
shit. I mean, no one would have thought Brad Johnson either, Gene.
Brad Johnson was consistent. I went back and looked at his numbers. The guy was consistent. He stayed out of the way of the defense. Trent Dilfer, as what did Warren Sapp say? He was an interception waiting to happen. He put too much on his shoulders. And the one thing about Trent Dilfer is he didn't learn until he got to another team. I'm guessing probably maybe somebody on that defense threatened his life or something because he managed the game. And Brad Johnson didn't put the team in harm's way. And that because you got a stellar defense and then you got Brad Johnson. So Brad Johnson did what he needed to do. He made plays when he needed to make them, but he didn't put the defense in a compromising position like we've seen in the past 5 or 6 years. So,
Well, what's crazy is he wasn't even supposed to start that year.
yeah.
So, Rob
But,
Johnson,
yeah.
RIP.
So again, it all worked out the way it should. But again, I just don't see him as a starter. I mean, unless something catastrophic happened, but it's the only way I can see it.
No, I mean, I'm with that. I mean, it literally takes the
And
rest
I
of, I mean, truck or trailer. I mean, Blaine Gabbert's a trailer. Everything around him
yeah,
has to be perfect in order
yeah,
for that inkling to even just be a playoff team to even be realistic. Because everyone was like preseason, Gabbert, we're not going to win more than 5 games, blah, 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 blah. I think Gabbert, if everyone's healthy and, is playing decent ball, it's still a playoff team. They're not probably winning the
right,
division. They're
100%.
probably not making the Super Bowl, but they could do something.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm going back to is Blaine Gabbert when he was in Tennessee. Um, he he couldn't was it he was Ryan Tannehill got hurt? Is that where he came in, or who was it? Mariota? I can't remember. God, I'm getting old.
Yeah, I
Wait,
think it was Mariota, but I could be
and
wrong.
Mariota. So he came in. He had a chance to. He could have won that job. Realistically, could have won that job. Just based on who he's up against, and it just didn't happen. Like I said, he's serviceable. He's a journeyman. Yeah, that's what he is. So, but anyway, hey, Brad Johnson. I love Brad Johnson. We ain't saying nobody's saying anything bad about Brad. We love Brad, man, especially
Trick
me.
shop. I mean, if there wasn't Dude Perfect, Brad Johnson would go viral. His
Yo,
trick
but
shots are insane.
yeah, I know. I mean, but if you think about it, there's nothing negative you could say about Brad Johnson in his time in Tampa at all, bar none, hands down. There just isn't. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so I'm going to leave it at that. I can't say that about too many quarterbacks historically with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that you look at them, you look at what they did here, and you can't say anything negative about them. I love
Donnie,
Brad.
I'm going to throw out Fitzmagic in that same vein. I don't care if he sucked against the Bears that
Yeah,
fourth game. Those first three, Fitzmagic forever.
yeah. I that was a beautiful thing just watching that all happen. And I still, I can just think back to that. He threw a dime to Deshaun Jackson, and that was
Against
like,
the Eagles,
yeah,
reigning Super Bowl champs at the time.
that was the prettiest pass I've ever seen, man. And he just dropped a dime in there. So again, I don't know. We could all go back and forth with that. So, what are your thoughts on the NFL? Well, on the season? How are you breaking down the season so far for you? I mean, schedule wise. I'm pulling the
To,
schedule right
to
now.
me, I mean, I think there's two main quarters to look at. I operate in sales, so I work in quarters. Everyone.
We can make
So so
we can work around
uh,
that.
so we got the first 4 weeks. Obviously, I don't really need to talk too much into that. But then, those weeks 12 through 15, you can even throw week 16 against the Cardinals in there. But really, I mean, the Browns, if it's true about Watson only getting 4 to 6 games, which I just can't believe, only
He's
getting
gone.
4 to 6 games, he'd be there and he'd have 6 weeks under his belt.
He's gone for the season.
It has to be, but I
There's
mean, even
no way.
Josina Anderson's tweeting out. I mean, essentially, the way the NFL is treating it is like there's just not that much evidence because a lot of the information's in court sealed documents. So, like, they have to actually talk to the witnesses in the NFL's mind for land. I mean, he could still get, and what the 4 to 6 weeks would be the personal conduct policy. But to me, we saw Brady get suspended 4 games for possibly deflating a football.
Yeah.
You have Russell Gage, or not
With no
Russell Gage, Calvin Ridley
with no
getting
ev-
suspended a full season for betting.
yeah.
You have players, Josh Gordon suspended indefinitely for weed. Like, to me, you're setting the wrong precedent if a guy has 25 accused victims. I mean, it's called Me Too for a reason. When there's
I'm
24
I'm
Me
getting back.
Too's,
I'm getting back on my soapbox again
oof.
because we really need to get this worked out. The NFL owners need to get a third party to handle discipline, not wrong way Roger.
They
Because
do. It's. I mean, I forgot her name, but she's the
no,
one
no,
who's running the litigation
right.
or
I
the
understand that,
suspension.
but every facet of all of this. I mean, just in whether it's the guy in Oakland to Alvin Kamara to just whatever's going on in the NFL, it
If
needs to
Dan
get
Snyder can get away with what he is right now, Gene, he's under federal indictment
yeah,
and is chilling on his yacht right now because he can't get served by Congress in the ocean.
exactly because
So he can
international
get
water.
away with it.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, there needs to be a separate entity separate from the NFL just to show there's no prejudice. And the NFL, they need to put that in the CBA where the players and the owners agree to abide by whatever decision is made. That's how it should work. Because right now, the way it looks like the NFL owners and wrong way Roger and they're just wrong all the time. And you can't, everybody's going to have an argument about whatever the penalty ends up being. Everybody's going to have something to say about it. But if you have a third party that's totally unbiased, that's totally not connected to the NFL, the owners or the players that can make these decisions, it's going to make things a whole lot better. because the way I see it, unless Deshaun Watson gets a whole year, I mean, you just have to send that kind of message because this is huge. This isn't like one person. This is a bunch of people that this is happening to.
Well, they
And I
proved it was
know
a ring, and they also brought in the Houston Texans ownership as well for being aware.
exactly. So
So it's
to that
conspiracy as well.
exactly. So to that point, there, where there's smoke, there's fire. And again,
25 smokes.
yeah, exactly. But I just don't see if he gets 6 games, that
It
is
sets the
going,
wrong precedent.
it does. And
Here's
I
what
tell
here's
you,
what I do, Gene. I say the first full year, no matter what, complete suspension. Because he
totally.
still has 4 civil cases that
Yeah,
aren't going to be tried until after the
yeah,
season. So we'll talk next off season.
exactly. And that still puts a bad light on the NFL, and it's going to continue to take away from the game as it stands right now. I mean, I think, if he's found innocent, or if everything works out and he's found innocent or whatever happens, they can go into arbitration and work out something with the contract. But until that happens, well, I guess they really can't because
Well,
Cleveland
he's
just,
only getting paid 1 million this year if he gets
yeah,
suspended, so the
yeah,
rest of it's guaranteed.
yeah. That's what I'm just thinking about that. Cleveland gave him a get out of jail free card in a sense. I didn't mean to say it that way, but again, it sends the wrong message. And there's a problem here. I mean, regardless of how you view this, and I'm just an outsider looking in 53,000 miles in the air looking down, there's a problem here. There just is. And now you're bringing in the team to as part of this. There's a problem somewhere, and it needs to get addressed in the right way.
Exactly. I mean, we're an organization. What happened with Jameis Winston? We talked about Fitzmagic earlier, those 3-4 weeks. The
Yeah.
reason why Jameis had a 3-game suspension instead of 6, because the original ruling was 6 games. It got reduced down to 3 because Jameis, for better or for worse, he came out and said, hey, or when he was under investigation, hey, I don't remember what happened. I don't think I did anything, but I don't think I did anything. I
Plausible
was
liability.
inebriated. I was under the influence of alcohol, so I don't remember. And I will accept responsibility for my actions and I won't appeal.
Right.
Only reason why he got 3 games. So what you're telling me is essentially what happened to Jameis Winston times 25 without the
It's three
alcohol or
games.
any kind of
Yeah.
influence is equal to the same punishment. I think that's just horseshit.
But that goes back to what I was saying. I mean, you have to have some level of consistency. I mean, you can't hand out a 3 game suspension and it can't be case by case. I guess it can, based on, I guess they need to come up with guidelines, I guess, when you
Gene,
like,
have you met anyone who gets massages from 50 plus different massage therapists in a 9-month span?
no.
Have you even heard of anyone who does that? Even if he was innocent, I mean, that's like asking the IRS to come, look
How
at your
many
books for cheating Uncle Sam for the past
how many
decades.
injuries can you have? I mean,
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he was looking
because
for a
I'm
happy
going,
ending in the
yeah,
end,
yeah,
but
but I'm just saying, if I'm just looking at this as he's going to get therapy for soreness or something like that. I know what it
But
could
but it's
be.
the thing,
I
it's
know
a
I
ring. I
know
mean, all of like there's a woman, Gene, who was think of her as a massage pimp that was literally at the center of this, who connected him to all of these
Jesus.
because it wasn't like Deshaun Watson, I'm gonna go to this massage therapy
Uh,
place, then I'm gonna go to this massage therapy place. Deshaun Watson goes, hey, I'm just gonna call her Jill. Hey Jill, can you get me a new girl? Hey Jill, can you get me a new girl? Hey Jill, can you get me a new girl? Can she come over? Can we have a private room? That's the conversations that are going back and forth. And
yeah.
that's before
And,
his conversations with the individual
and
therapists.
and what's up with the team? I mean, the what's wrong with the team? Doctors, or therapists, masseuses.
They're usually the best of the best.
Yeah, that's why they get paid the big bucks. But again, it goes down that path, and because you know in my opinion, if the Texans knew and they're complicit, maybe losing a draft pick or something like that, there has to be a stern message needs to be sent for if this is the case, if he's found guilty or if there's wrongdoing found, The NFL needs to send a stern message. And again, I don't think Roger Goodell's the right person to do it personally.
And the message isn't because of the personal conduct policy. The message is for the actions and the cover up. Because what was Brady even suspended for? It
Cover
wasn't
up.
the fact that he did it, it was the conspiracy of covering it up,
Yeah.
deleting of text message allegedly, working with people behind closed doors. The Patriots' already history of, shady things in the background. It wasn't just on the surface, hey, Brady did one act, here's your suspension. No, it was the conspiracy behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody in the chat, Bud Cannibalist is agreeing with you. Ramona K, what's going on? Emily, how are you doing, Emily? Long time. Finally caught up. And I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm just kind of read through the chat here. Bud is saying I say minimum 1 game suspension. Oh
One
no,
season, you mean?
oh, 1 season. Oh, 1 season,
Yeah.
excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I'm sorry, man. And I'm totally sober too right now. So
It's
that's
Friday Eve, Gene. It's Friday Eve.
it is. But yeah, that's exactly. I'm with Bud on this. I'm thinking minimum one game, one year.
I want one season, and then let's just see.
Yeah,
What
because
happens with those other
it's
court
drawing
cases.
too much negative attention to the NFL, and we should be focused on the games. It shouldn't be about, because now you've got Deshaun Watson, and he's in a Browns uniform after 6 games. Let's say he gets 6 games. Every single time, every single week, going all the way to the Super Bowl and maybe past, his name's going to come up in some conversation, and it just detracts away from the game. So they really, you almost have to do something like that.
Oh, and here's what they do, Gene. What he would do is he would come out the first week back, give a statement, and then he would Marshawn Lynch his way to the rest of the season and just take the fines. I mean, he's getting paid $400+ million fully guaranteed. He's going to take his $300,000 worth of fines for not showing up to media.
Unbelievable. It
Because
just,
that's how you handle it PR wise. But Tony Romo, NBC, ABC, or NBC, ESPN, Amazon, they're all going to talk about it.
exactly, that's the whole thing, and this is like, well, it's a little bit different in Ben, because Ben was one female.
But it was also a rape case with evidence. And even then, it was only, 6 games, right?
Yeah, I think his was 6 games.
I mean, she had evidence.
Yeah.
And it was
So
only, and that was also, we lived in a different society 20 years ago than what we do now. But I think that
100%.
also has to be part of that.
Yeah. And that's what we have to factor in. But I think people like this need to get some kind of therapy. I think therapy should be part of whatever the sentence is, or at the end of the day, guilty or not, something to that effect, because there's something there. I don't know. But anyway.
One last thing before we talk about Bucks again, Gene. I've been waiting all week to get your thoughts on this, because we haven't talked off screen, everyone, about this. Zach Wilson, how you feeling?
Zach Wilson's that dude.
Do you even know? Do you know what happened?
I do know.
Okay.
I do know. And
how we feeling?
Again, he didn't do anything illegal. So
well, but he's an internet legend now, Gene. It's because
I don't know. I just
what I will say, the best part to me about it is when the ex-girlfriend comes out and is basically like, when someone says something about you that essentially you're the homewrecker, you're the one who cheated, and all that, you expect that person to get all of the shade, the demonized comments.
Right.
But the fact that it was the mom's friend, just
Bro,
she had to delete all the social media accounts that she had. She got bombarded.
She got
just
famous
from the cloud of men or whoever on the internet. Just
got famous. Yeah, it was unwanted too. You know what? Again, that's where I wouldn't go looking for her or anything like that. That's kind of weird to me. But yeah, like I said, it happened. It happens. I'm not like discounting it. It happens all the time. He didn't break any laws, but it just, I don't know. I don't even know but they know exactly 100% what happened. And I'm not one to guesstimate on any of that, but that's just like when I heard it, I was like, wow, man, this is straight off of
It's literally The Graduate.
yeah,
Like,
this is straight off of Brazzers or something like that. I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. You just, I mean, it's like somebody scripted this, and I'm like, because at first that's what I was thinking, man. What's going on? Am I being made fun of here? What's going on?
I've made so many The Graduate references to my fiance and Taylor. I know you're not in the house right now, but like literally, me just talking about The Graduate. So like this situation makes her want to actually watch The Graduate. So I think I won, Gene.
Yeah,
Zach Wilson won, but I won too.
there you go, man. You cannot.
Here's to you, Mrs. Robinson, baby.
That's a win-win right there. But honestly, all joking aside, I
Don't break the law, kids.
yeah,
You
that's
know.
that's the whole thing. Don't be stupid. Don't drink and drive.
So the Bucs, as I know we've talked about other franchises for the past 20 minutes.
So yeah, we at least we got that out
See,
of the
that's
way.
the thing. We don't have any drama. Our biggest drama is what? Is
Don't
Gronk
say
going to
that.
come back? Is Gronk going to come back?
No, don't say that. Don't say that.
But that's it.
I
That's
know,
the
but
only
don't
thing you can
because
bring up.
yeah, I know, but I'm having flashbacks of prior days where that wasn't the case.
Well, all I'm going to say is I don't believe his interview from the other day.
Who's that?
Gronk had an interview where he basically said, I'm done. Essentially, he would take the call from Brady, but he would tell him no. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. He said he's worried about all of his other businesses. It's the same businesses that he had. I don't know if you know his brother, had a product on Shark Tank called Ice Shaker.
Yep.
And essentially he bought out all of Mark Cuban's shares and Alex Rodriguez shares from the Shark Tank deal. Like that's like his big company. Like there's really not too much stuff other than guest appearances and Vegas for the draft.
I can tell you this. The game's going to get tight and he's going to be watching games, and Gronk is a competitor. I can tell you right now. It's me watching games. I would be so shocked to see him not come back. It would just blow my mind that he didn't come back at some point towards the end of the season. I'm thinking of back into the season. That's kind of where I'm at. So I've heard all the talk, seen all the interviews, read all the stories, but at the end of the day, I think the Bucs fans will see Gronk. Hopefully it'll be in Germany.
Gene, if anyone really, even if you're a multi-millionaire like the way Gronk is, if someone's offering you $8 million for 3 months work, doesn't that help all of the businesses that you're going to have?
Heck yeah, I would without a doubt. My man Pless in the house.
Pless.
What's going on, man?
Shaved Pless.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Shaved 10 years off.
Hey, no playoff beard anymore.
No, I had to clean it up a little bit. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, doing real good.
We've only talked about other quarterbacks in the NFL. We talked about Zach Wilson and Deshaun Watson, so some good and some bad there.
Hey, Zach Wilson is the MVP. All right,
Exactly.
MVP. He's going to destroy the league this year.
Oh man,
wasn't it because it was Garoppolo before with the porn star, and now we've got
Gronk too. Gronk's been around. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
they don't call Jimmy G for his play now on the field. It's off the field.
Exactly.
Wait, you mean the future quarterback of the Bucs, Jimmy G? Right?
Oh God, don't get me started. Jesus.
Hey, we have the strip club capital of the world for Jimmy.
Hey, great place to live. Great place to live.
Oh man.
So we were just getting ready to start talking about the season, the regular season, and some of the games that you're interested in. And I know for me, probably the most exciting game will be the Arizona Cardinals versus the Tampa Bay Bucs in Phoenix. Okay, I'm lying. It's going to be the one in Germany. The Seahawks, Tampa Bay versus.
Gene, don't you have breaking news to tell the chat?
What?
And all the viewers out there?
What, that I'm going?
Yeah, that's breaking news, Gene. You secured your tickets.
Yep. that was nerve-wracking right there. That was probably the most nerve-wracking thing that I've done related to football is purchase tickets in another country. So it was wild because you have to, like, if anybody is going, anybody that's listening, if you are going or thinking about going, there will be tickets on sale on Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. start 10 a.m. Eastern. And I would suggest getting a Ticketmaster Germany account, setting everything up in there, putting in your address, your phone number, make sure all that stuff is in there. So when you get the opportunity to purchase the tickets, it's going to be easier for you.
All right.
So
I'll get my black card ready.
there you go, man. You
Pre-
taking
The company black card. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be
you
yours.
flying the private jet out?
Yeah, might as well. Let's do it.
You gotta go big, man.
Yeah, that's the only way to go.
Or just save it till the Super Bowl and just fly your jet out to Arizona, man. There you go.
Yep. Yeah, American Express has hit me up a couple of times, so I gotta call them back.
Ooh, Ticketmaster doesn't like that. That's typically like a 5% charge.
Oh, true.
So I'm here on the Buccaneers.com app, and I was just checking out the schedule. And repeat, what is it? Wash and repeat. Dallas Cowboys week 1.
In Jerry World.
In Jerry
That's
World.
a little bit different.
Yeah.
But we know this Bucs team's better on the road, though. Let's just be real.
So that's going to be a good game right there. There's been some talk about some moves that the Cowboys are going to make, and I don't care, to be honest. Until Jerry's gone, the Cowboys are not going to do anything. They're not going to amount to anything. So let's move on to the it's pretty much what it is.
Well, to touch on the Cowboys real quick, I mean, the big guy for, it's not Dak anymore. It's Micah Parsons, should have been defensive player of the year. If he's playing off-ball linebacker, I think that's the worst thing the Cowboys can do. I mean, he's an elite pass rusher.
He is.
I mean, he needs to be on the line. I mean, I know they still have Leighton Vander Esch. But if he's playing off-ball linebacker against the Bucs, I mean, all I'm going to say is, granted, it was his first game ever. Watch week 1 and watch how Brady just targets him and makes him look silly.
Yeah, so
that's bad news for the Cowboys.
Yeah. So that's going to be it's going to be a good game. It's going to be on NBC. So
past Brady's bread time. That's why I think the Cowboys have a chance.
Yeah, there you go.
Past his bread time.
Your thoughts?
Bucs win that game easily, I think.
Yeah. What's going on with Ezekiel Elliott? I think he ends up playing with the Bills at some point.
No, I mean, honestly, their best running back's their backup. No offense to Zeke.
Their career, his career is not. I don't think he has a chance to really do much more in Dallas. I think he's done as much as he can. I just would see him.
He's year 7. I mean, it's the running back position.
Yeah,
that's just how the cookie crumbles.
I could see him coming in possibly and helping another team, but he wouldn't be in the position where he is right now as your go-to.
I haven't been keeping up. What's going on with Ezekiel Elliott?
Oh, nothing. He's just not. He got after he got the contract and just hasn't produced. He's just he's been.
I think he's just gotten he's gotten beaten up. Early in his career they used him quite often. I think he just
kind of like Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, the wear and tear I think just got to him, and he's had some off the field stuff as well, and just seems like the guy's just not focused like he used to be. Coming out. So again, and and the Dallas offensive line hasn't got better. They've
ding.
They've downgraded, and they're not.
And they lost a key player.
Yeah, they lost a lot of key players over the years.
No Amari Cooper either.
And like the giant holes to run through are just not there anymore. So it makes it tougher for running back like Zeke to operate.
Yeah, absolutely. Bud Cannabis was talking about Sean Payton may take over in Dallas next year.
Oh, I love how those sites are like, it's breaking. Sean Payton may come back next year.
I'm going to say this. Let's say, for instance, that he does. As long as Jerry Jones is the owner of that team, it just is not going to work. And we've seen this. I mean, you had a Hall of Fame head coach in Bill Parcells, and they couldn't work together. They couldn't make it work. There is no way that Sean Payton and Jerry Jones can work. They could coexist. There's just not a way that they can coexist. It won't
That's what
happen.
I'm saying. I think if Peyton's there, Peyton has to just say, "Hey, I basically have the keys.
Yeah,
You sign the checks."
yeah,
Only way it works.
exactly. Maybe they put something in his coffee and have him sleep while they sign this contract and put all these clauses in. And but honestly, I just don't see a coach of Sean Payton's pedigree where he's had carte blanche to do whatever he wanted to in New Orleans. They pretty much handed him the keys and said, "Here, let's make this work." Mickey Loomis got him players, and he made those players work. I mean, uh, when you think about it, you think about some of the players that they've had and gone on to other teams, and they just don't perform the way they did, with the New Orleans Saints. So again, I just don't see any coach until he's gone and out of the way. I think Stephen Jones, his son, may be a little bit more reasonable, but just Jerry is just it's his ego, it's his way, and he's got to take credit for all the all the wins or anything positive that happens. He's got to take credit for it. I mean, you even hear him talking about the stadium, and Jesus Christ, you would think he won a Super Bowl the way he talks about
Breaking
that.
news: Gene doesn't like the Cowboys. Everyone.
Yeah, that is facts. Looking forward to that matchup, though. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be a really good matchup. Earlier I said we're going to win easily. I was just joking around, but again, it's going to be a fun matchup. And I think, with the losses that the Cowboys have, suffered over this offseason, the matchups I just feel, favor the Bucks. I think the Bucks have gained some things, especially in the coaching staff. A lot of people haven't talked about that. I think the way Todd Bowles coaches, I think that's going to help us out tremendously.
Yeah.
As long as they have Mike McCarthy, even if the Cowboys, let's say, win that game, still not trusting him in a round 2 in the playoffs or anything like that. Like, Mike McCarthy's not good, guys.
And I think this will finally put to rest, whether Todd Bowles is that coach, because when he was in New York, he had the ownership was horrible, and getting him the
Still
players,
is.
getting him the players that he needed for his offense, his defense, or just just his team in general, it just never really came about.
Well, we don't know if it was Bowles or not, but they drafted 2 safeties with their 2 first picks ever. I mean, granted, one of them was Jamal Adams, but was the other one Marcus May? I think was the other. But they went their first picks, as a regime, are here's 2 safeties.
Yeah. So again, I have 100% confidence in Todd Bowles.
And he also did well against the Patriots, though. That's one thing to really just throw in there. Those Jets teams did pretty well against the Patriots.
So again, it's just I'm excited for it. That's one of the things I haven't really been stressing on. I'm glad you brought up the coaching staff, and they've stuck with what Bruce Arians kind of implemented, and they're working with that in going into camp. So I'm super excited, and I don't see any hiccups along the way. All right, next game, week 2, the New Orleans Saints.
It's always a fun matchup.
Where's that?
Yeah. And again, I mentioned it earlier in the show. I don't like Atlanta, and New Orleans. It's whatever. New Orleans is like the Chicago Bears when the Bucks were in the NFC North division, so to speak.
Yeah, I think
it's got our number.
Yeah, they do. Defensively, they just know where to be, and they know how to play the Bucks offense. That's for sure. But isn't Kamara? He's going to be out for that game, or
it's not confirmed, but he's looking at 4 to 6
suspension. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's out, obviously that's a big loss, and Jameis in that system, I think will find success because it fits what he does. They'll tailor to his strengths exactly, and
it's just that offensive line, man. That left side, I mean,
it's unknown.
I'm telling you, Trevor Penning is not what Draft Nation hypes him up to be. He is a developmental guy. He is not going to come in and B. Tristan Wirfs or even Andrew Thomas,
Yeah.
like he's gonna struggle. So what the one
Are
thing
they
the Bucks,
planning? Are they planning to start him at left tackle? Or
it's him or James Hurst.
James Hurst. Okay. Yeah,
Because
and
Like
the right tackle.
that's a position battle for the Saints, isn't it?
that's, I mean, Andres Pete is also their left guard. I mean, I think center, right guard, right tackle with McCoy, Ruiz, Ramczyk. But the one thing I think the Bucks really struggled doing was flipping sides with JPP and Shaq to kind of, mess with the defense a little bit. Like, give them equal or different opportunities because, when you make the same moves on a guy for 70 snaps of a game, it's generally not going to go over very well. They're going to key into you and, figure out what you're doing. Man, whoever's coming off that left side at D tackle and edge, if they don't get there, then we got serious issues.
Right.
Because we know Jameis is going to hold on to the ball, even though, in a Peyton-esque offense, it's get rid of the ball ASAP. We know Jameis is going to take 5 to 10 of those snaps, and he's going to hold on to it. So are you going to get a sack? Are you going to get a turnover? That's going to be the key to the game.
And I'm wondering, this is going to be interesting for me, just getting to see Jameis Winston. He's fully healthy.
I don't know. He's been limp. Why? Okay. Why is he practicing, Gene? Like all I saw this entire offseason was he was limping around at practice. Imagine if we were trotting out Godwin and he's limping.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, the player probably has a lot to do with that as well. The one thing that I will say is Jameis Winston got to sit behind Drew Brees and he got to learn from Sean Payton. And the one thing that I did notice the first time that I saw Jameis, in a Saints uniform playing, he kind of reverted back to, I got to put the game on my shoulder and I got to force plays. And I know we didn't see a lot of that because of the way the game was flowing versus the Bucks. But my question is, for 5 years, we saw that where he did that. And is that something that is ingrained in a player? Or is that something that under stressful times you kind of revert back to that? Or those are the things that I've wondered about him. And I still question his decision making, just based on his body of work. I mean, what we saw against the Bucks Saints game, it really didn't answer anything for me because the Saints were up. The Saints were controlling the game. But, just as the season progresses, there will be closer games. How does he react?
You mentioned the word control, and I think that's what what lies in that issue is because we know Sean Payton is a control freak.
Right.
And in that, you're talking about the Bucks game, Jameis made the easy reads, because what was Bruce Arians' offense, especially? We can talk about even Dirk Cutter and all that, but let's just focus on Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians' offense relies on reading the defense, knowing that your receivers can break a route at any time for like any particular reason, and that it's a predominantly downfield game. Peyton's no longer there, but all of his disciples are still there.
Right.
So what the offense looks like on paper. Play calling might be a little bit different, but that's why I said earlier 5 to 10 plays, because I'll tell you right now, Marquez Callaway was like Jameis Winston's Mike Evans for the Saints. He's that jump ball specialist, and now we have Olave. Landry's going to work the middle. Mike Thomas is going to do Mike Thomas-like things. But is he going to try to throw that ball? Is he going to hold on to that ball? Because, you can't have 3-step drop, throw it to Malvin Kamara every single play. Like, you can't do that. You can't just run slants unless you're playing Mike Smith or Lovie Smith. But, like, we know the Bucs want to come after him. But the thing is, with all of these, even hotshot quarterbacks, we talked about it all offseason. You got to get there with 3 and 4.
Right.
Because if you're blitzing Jameis and you're leaving Carlton one-on-one with Marquez Callaway and Marcus Callaway gets that step on him, we know Jameis can throw a 50-50 ball.
Oh, easy.
So, on those 5 to 10 dropbacks, is there a sack fumble? Is there let's say Jameis plays smart. Does he just throw it away? Is there an interception? That those 5 to 10 plays are what's going to change the game, because they're going to say Jameis do this, 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 and this. But what happens when the Bucs are, up 7 in the second half?
Yeah.
that's when that Jameis switch churns. It's not when it's 7-3 in the first quarter.
Right. Oh, Bless, were you going to say something?
I mean, I agree. I mean, it's you know, when Jameis just tries to, you know, play that hero ball, and I think a lot of that was, you know, especially during his time here in Tampa.
Yeah.
You know, the defense wasn't very good. We'll just be honest, and there was at times where he felt he had to put a lot on his shoulders, and you know, turnovers happen. But you know, going to, you know, the schemes definitely play a part. You know,
Right.
Bruce Arians' offense is very difficult. It's, you know, a lot of pre-snap. You have to know where
Brady
you're going.
struggled with it too. Let's just be honest.
Exactly. But then he's gone on to master it because he's just the GOAT. But
Yeah.
um,
And again, you know, that brings
yeah.
up the question, in your opinion, from what you've seen from Jameis, is he learning how to read defenses? Because he struggled
Watch the
mightily.
Carolina game. That's all. Watch even the Giants game, because especially the Giants game, because I will agree with Saints fans when they say Sean Payton lost that game. I 100% agree, because they didn't take any chances. It was Jameis, you literally have this read. You're going to throw it. If we don't get the first down, great. But then you watch that Panthers game and things open up because they think that they can open up their offense against Carolina, and it goes real badly real quickly.
Yeah, I would agree. I think and Ken said it. It's all about control, and you have to control Jameis want to making that big play, and you have to limit him to just keep it simple, and you have to be able to run the football. You got to be able to use play action. You got to keep it to 1 to 2 reads, whether it be basically 2 level reads, one low, one high, and
Right.
that's pretty much you know, that's how they're going to run it with him. And they have great options at receiver to do that because they have route runners that can create space and give him easy options to dump the ball to. You know, Carson Wentz was the same thing. And, you know, when he was working at the Eagles, they did the same thing. It was 1 to 2 reads, and he went on to have his best year that year. And then that went away. Teams figured him out. And, you know, now he's struggling. Hopefully.
Oh, he also physically even isn't, because of an injury. Like when you break your leg,
right,
the
that
way that he
too.
did,
Obviously injury.
you can't be the mobile guy that he was dynamic
Yeah.
his first couple of years.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna look at a couple more games. We can come back to these next week. But one of the games
I have a question for the team, or for everyone here. Which game do you think is harder? Both are at home. Green Bay, Kansas City. Which one do you think the Bucs will struggle to win, or which team has a better chance to win against the Bucs?
Kansas City.
Yeah, I'd agree. Kansas City. I like how we match up against Green Bay. I think that's just a matchup where not only mentally, but I think physically, we match up pretty well with them. Kansas City, it's just the dynamic playmaking of Patrick Mahomes, and then also the speed. Pretty much I would say the speed that they've added. Also, they've lost some speed. Obviously, Tyreek Hill. But just the dynamic playmaking, I think, on both sides, the way Kansas City defense plays too, you know, they're aggressive and they do a lot of different things schematically. So I think that presents a challenge. But I mean, I would say Kansas City, but it's not by much. I think we match up well with both of them.
Yeah,
I agree. To me, I would say the horizontal aspect of Kansas City provides that challenge, because what do the Bucs do? They struggle sometimes guarding grass. You know, there's always that open zone, it feels like, with the Bucs, where someone did the wrong thing, or we sent one too many people, or whatever the case may be, and the quarterback just goes boop, 30 yards. And it's like, well, now they're in field goal range, so now it's just you got to keep them from scoring. And I think that's what the Chiefs provide that the Green Bay doesn't, because Tyreek Hill is his own animal per se. But even if, let's say, I still think the Bucs win that Super Bowl, but let's say, the offensive line's healthy, I definitely believe they score more than 9 points.
Yep.
And I think that's the thing, is I think Green Bay especially can be shut down. And I think the Bucs have shown that they can shut them down. But Kansas City, if healthy, provides challenges that the Bucs generally struggle with. Like the Bucs struggle with that. Patrick Mahomes ran for 500 yards, without just even throwing the ball.
Right.
Like that's what like the Kyler Murrays, probably not as much Lamar Jackson. We'll probably get to him either. Probably a different episode.
This is going to be the factor, and you guys mentioned it earlier in the show, and this is something that we have to see the Bucs do this. They have to get home. They have to get home. Front four has to get home. I understand sometimes you may kind of mix it up and have some exotic blitzes, but the front four, they have to get home. They have to make the quarterback uncomfortable. They have to do something outside of what they've been doing. I would say this. I would venture to say this, and plus, I think you said this last year. If Tampa's front four was able to get home more consistently last year, there are some games they would have won, and who knows what the playoffs would have looked like. It may have looked a little bit different, but there were a couple of games where we just didn't see that front four didn't show up like they were supposed to. So this is something I know that they're hoping that they fixed this problem or upgraded in positions, but they have to go out and do this. This has to happen, especially against teams like Kansas City.
Look at total sacks, not individual sacks either. I don't want to hear Shaq Barrett this anymore. Shaq Barrett in one of the most quiet 10-sack seasons Bucs fans could ever just understand. Because remember when JPP got in like 2018, it was, holy shit, 10 sacks. And then it was like, okay, we can just get Shaq Barrett's 19 and a half. Okay, let's get 19 and a half every freaking year.
But
he's like a 6'2" guy, like, 230, 240 soaking wet. Like he's not JJ or TJ Watt. He's not Myles Garrett. You can't expect that. You need the interior to get that push.
Yep.
And when you do blitz, Devin White can't run past quarterbacks anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of that. I'm also sick and tired of Bulls sending 7 guys versus 6 blockers and no one gets through. That can't happen.
And see, that's what I'm saying. If your front four are getting home, that makes things a little bit easier to mix it up. JTS, where I have high expectations for him this year. I think he started out good. I would have liked to have seen him get more snaps last year, but this is his season to come out here and show what he can do. And I think that we will see market improvement from him. Vita Vea has got to get there. He's got to.
He's got to play more than 30% of snaps too in big games. Like in the playoffs, there was no excuse for that. Like what was it, 35, 40%? Can't happen.
Yeah,
it's too valuable. He sets everything up for everyone.
Yeah, I would say it's not a lack of talent up front. I think, majority of it is the guys just got to stay healthy, especially in the back end. I think the back end, that forces everything up front as far as what they want to run, how they want to attack, opposing offenses. So the secondary just needs to be on the field. And we talked about this on Real Bucs Talk today. It's like, Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, Sean Murphy-Bunting, all those guys, they got to be on the field, and they got to be on the field consistently. And they have to catch the football. When they have chances to catch football, they got to make those plays. They had a lot of dropped interceptions last year, and stuff like that changes games. So and we talked about it. You look at
Church's money.
Yeah, you can't. And when you look at the Rams playoff game last year, Jamel Dean had an interception in the first quarter. He catches that ball, game shifts, it changes. So stuff like that, they have to be they got to be on the field. And I know injuries happen, but you need these guys to stay healthy. I think that's the biggest thing. And JTS, Shaq Barrett, all those guys are going to step up because they're going to be in the right spots now. I think Shaq's going to be rushing from the right side, JTS on the left side. So that's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of fun times. And Akeem Hicks is, very underrated move. I think that's going to be a big benefit.
Yeah.
And he's going to help Hall, and he's going to help the edge guys too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's the, the defensive line. If I can say anything about this team, is we're going to be watching the closest is that defensive line to see what they do. We know pretty much the rest of the field. We have an idea, with, Keanu Neal coming in, and I'm trying to think who else did they get? Who else did we get in the off season? Somebody else in the secondary.
Logan Ryan. Yeah. Keanu Neal. Yep.
Yeah. So these are guys that I think are going to also help shore up that secondary and give more of a veteran presence that the Bucs rarely get, with any of the teams that we've seen in the past is that veteran presence. So I'm actually looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'll say one more thing on the secondary. I think Antoine Winfield is going to be able to move around a lot more this season. And that's going to be the big benefit for the defense because he's so good when he can play near the line of scrimmage or play back in free safety. So I think there's going to be a lot of moving around, and that's going to help the team a lot.
When
Yeah.
people said go get Honey Badger, I said no. You don't need Honey Badger because
No,
you
I can't.
have Baby Badger.
Yeah.
No, and that's the thing. Poles literally says I don't want to take him out of that center field because we even saw it. The 2019 defense versus 2020 was literally saying, Antoine, you're our free safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logan Ryan can fill in for you. You know, he could be Mike Edwards. I think, you know, could play up there. You know, you're not going to play, you know, 30 snaps of Antoine Winfield in the box. But what you're going to do is you flip them that one time, the defense goes, ooh.
And think about this too. You know, we saw a huge drop off when Antoine was out. When you watch those games, if you compare where they were to when he was in to where they were when he was out, huge drop off. And so I've always said that this guy he's a very important part of the secondary, and you know, he will be since he's first set foot on the field. And you know, I don't understand fans. I guess they're casual fans that don't realize, oh, let's go get Honey Badger. No, you've got this guy here who's balling out of control, and he'll light your ass up. You're in the wrong place. You're gonna know he's there. So
well, and when Honey Badger plays 5 games, and you realize you can get a Keanu Neal and you know Logan Ryan to kind of fill those 2 little roles for what $3 million combined.
absolutely.
I mean, that's just what the safety position is now. That's why Jordan Whitehead got shit in free agency. Like, I mean, every year you just see the list of safety names, and I'm at the point now, and I love Mike Edwards. I forgot who put it out on Twitter recently. Was who do you keep between Mike Edwards, Jamel Dean, and Sean Murphy Bunting? And to me, I chose Jamel Dean, and I think Sean Murphy Bunting has a lot he needs to show before we talk about any kind of extension money. But Mike Edwards is just, and I love Mike Edwards, but I can go find Logan Ryan every offseason. I can go find Keanu Neal every offseason. Like, I mean, just keep Antoine. Like that's what the safety position is now. You pay the good ones, you fill in the other one.
Yeah. And I think that Jason Light has earned our trust as a fan base, and we should trust in him. You know, regardless, if you look at his whole body of work, he produced enough talent to draw Tom Brady to Tampa. And that
not easy to do, folks. And that was when people were even turning Tom away.
Nobody's talking about that. That should tell you everything you need to know about what Jason Light has done from a personnel perspective, is the fact that Tom Brady picked Tampa as, okay, I'm coming to Tampa. This is, or I should say he ended up in Tampa. I'll put it that way, because I don't know I haven't like delved into any of the conspiracy theories, but the fact that he ended up in Tampa, that's all I know. And the fact that I know that Tom Brady wouldn't come to a team rebuilding.
Pet peeve of mine. Tom Brady is, you know, built the Bucs and all that. We got all these extra free agents. No, 95% of the roster was there. And people forget the Raiders said no to Tom Brady. The 49ers said no to Tom Brady. Like, those are pretty much like out there. Like John Gruden stuck with Derek Carr. Shanahan stuck with Jimmy G. Like, those are the only 2 teams we know that said no, but we know the Chiefs said no. We know the Bills said no. We know all of these teams that the Packers, you know, all those teams said no.
Yeah.
That,
you know, but
Brady remembers that. The Bucs were one of 2 teams that really, us and the Chargers, who wound up drafting Justin Herbert. Great for them.
And
it was perfect.
I'm going to say this just so you guys know. Tom Brady will be playing for the 49ers at week 6 per the
Florida.
I wasn't going to drop his name here, but a certain somebody still believes that Tom Brady is going to end up in San Francisco, then Miami. So I'm thinking, like,
why don't we just do Jimmy G for Tom Brady straight up? We'll take on the extra money too, because Brady only counts for like 16.
So this is my narrative right here. So Tom Brady ends up playing for Miami week 13. Just to make sure that I've covered everybody. So
wait, so 49ers then trade him to Miami?
Yep. So he's going to go from Tampa. He's going to play for us for a little bit. He's going to end up in San Francisco. And then
let's first make it out. We're going to do Brady for Jimmy G straight up, no extra picks or anything in there.
Wait, is this all happening this year?
Yeah, this
Yes,
is all
apparently.
because that's
I'm just
basically
teasing.
what the
You
news
guys
is.
are wild.
That's what the news is. They said that Tom Brady was going to San Francisco.
Listen. Tom Brady chose the Bucks, okay? And he's
It's
gonna
Kyle
be
Trask's time. You should know this, Plus. We
Yeah.
don't need Brady.
I do know this, but hey, Tom Brady's gonna be the Bucks quarterback as long as he wants to be, and that's the end of the story. So if he wants to come back next year, he's gonna be with the Bucks.
Seriously, the
That-
Glazers
that's
need
it.
to give him a piece, though. I know they're a family-owned corporation.
Oh, he already
I
owns
guess
the
at this point.
Bucks. We already know that.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is they seriously need to give him a piece.
Oh,
You know,
I'm sure they'll negotiate.
and realistic, all joking aside, though, I'm happy that Tom Brady's here, and this is why I'm really looking forward to this season. And as a fan base, everybody needs to put their differences aside. This is going to be a fun season, and getting to see Tom Brady go out there and do what he does. And we've got a new head coach, and I think the team is in a really good position personnel wise. I think this is just going to be a good season.
I'm excited. I mean, I think especially offensively, things are going to be different. I mean, not like catastrophic, but that Gronk aspect. I mean, at least even if he does, let's say, come back in preseason, like I don't think he's gonna overload the snap count early in the year. I think those first 4 weeks you're gonna see, even without Godwin, probably. Even though I know those reports are he can play week 1, and I'm not that person to say, hey, you should sit him the first 4 weeks regardless. I mean, at least worst case pitch count him.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell a competitor, hey, no, we're just gonna sit you. Go sit over there. That's guys like Godwin. That's not how you see how Godwin blocks.
Yeah.
He'd like imagine him coming after Bowles to say he can't get that game check.
Yeah.
So
first, I mean, Godwin's just he's not a normal person. His work ethic is just insane.
Exactly.
So
watch him just go into a linebacker, like not even like, I forgot someone posted a Nick N'Keal Harry highlight tape of him doing a crack block on an edge. No, watch Godwin making eye contact with a 250-pound linebacker going full speed each way, and watch Godwin literally take a grown-ass man out.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's unlike any receiver you'll see.
Where's that guy now? Harry. He's going to the Bears, right?
Yeah, first 7th rounder.
Okay.
But that's another thing. See that list of Chicago Bears receivers, and
pathetic.
tell me that the Bucks didn't invest enough in a certain quarterback. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, you had Mike Evans. That should be plenty enough right there. So.
Godwin, Deshaun Jackson. I mean, like Deshaun Jackson.
Well,
I mean, as
Mike
much
Evans
as we all
alone.
hate him, I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick knew how to use. Deshaun Jackson. Like, let's just be real there.
Fitzy should have played that whole season, but again, that's another story.
I think that one was a Glazer and light over. Yeah. I don't think Dirk Cutter.
I have so many behind the scenes stories on the Bucks and past quarterbacks. It's crazy. I mean, you can start from Josh Freeman, Jeff Garcia to Brian Greasy to. There's a lot of shit that went down as far as
I would love to hear these things.
All I'm gonna say is Cutter
people.
Jameis wasn't even quarterback 2. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, guy never wanted him here.
Yeah.
So,
and we've seen that story play out in other teams too. So I'm with it.
As much as I hate Cutter, I mean, he was technically right though about those quarterbacks.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, he didn't even put Mariota necessarily as like better. He's just like, I don't really want either.
Totally get it. So week 10, the Seattle Seahawks.
Huge game of the week. I'm gonna wake up at fresh 9 o'clock in the morning.
This will be
who's gonna be the quarterback for Seattle?
At that point, probably Gino.
I don't know, because
I think Locke's gonna start the year, but I think Gino's gonna come in at some point.
Will both of them stll be able to walk?
That
probably not.
Remember,
they lost
Swiss left tackle. That offensive line is Swiss cheese. And I honestly, as much as I love Pete Carroll, the game has passed him by. He hasn't
he's got more better running backs than he does more better offensive line.
But if you look at his body of work, he rarely invests in the wide receiver position. And I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at as an outsider looking in.
Their skill players are fine. It's just, the offensive line being consistent. That's going to be their biggest thing. And yeah, I know they got Charles Cross. I don't know if they're putting him at right. Are they putting him at right tackle or left tackle?
I mean, if I were them, I would just throw him at left, let him sink or swim. If he doesn't do good, you can move him into left guard or right tackle. I would throw him on the left side. Why the heck not? Because I mean, your choices are Stone Forsyth as a backup.
I like
and then your other positions are Damian Lewis, Austin Blythe, Gabe Jackson, kind of a cast off there, and then you got Jake Kurhan. I don't even know who their right tackle. And they also have Abraham Lucas that they got in the 3rd round this year.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
And they got Noah Fan in the Broncos deal. So I mean, like again, skill positions. I mean,
they're fine.
2 good receivers, tight end, but man,
yeah,
that offense. I mean, and we named those linemen. Here's their running backs. You still have Chris Carson under contract, even though he's got like the neck stuff, may retire. We'll see, but we'll just consider him for now. Yeah. You got Rashad Penny, Kenneth Walker, even DJ Dallas.
Yeah.
Darwin Thompson's done some stuff in the league. Yeah. Travis Homer, I think he was on the Kansas City Chiefs, did a little something. Like, I can say all of that. I mean, on the offensive line, it's literally Charles Cross and Gabe Jackson.
Yeah.
So they're gonna play 3 downs in a cloud of dust and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his face? Drew Lock ain't cooking.
So what is
serving a salad?
Their defense looking like? The Legion of whom?
I mean, they have Jamal Adams. Already. I mean, they have a good, decent secondary. I mean, they still have Sidney Jones, Quandre Diggs, Jamal Adams, Artie Burns.
Okay.
But then, I mean, their linebackers. I mean, without I mean, remember they used to be like linebacker U. They were a linebacker NFL. They would always be 7 linebackers deep. But literally, other than Jordan Brooks was their 1st round pick 2 years ago, literally not much there anymore. And the defensive line, I mean, they got Darrell Taylor.
Who did they just cut? They cut a big linebacker that went to who is the linebacker that was there forever?
Not Thomas. Oh,
he was really good.
Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, Wagner, and
Wagner's now with the Rams.
Rams, that's right. Yeah, traitor.
Man, that's
I mean, I'm happy that the Rams paid him. Honestly, if you look at Bobby Wagner, he's still a good player. But if you look at what the Rams do,
salary cap
isn't a need. That's what, but I'm saying linebacker isn't like what the Rams do good is, on offense, they have the 2 or 3 playmakers, kind of everyone decent around them. You kind of just play within the scheme, beat a bomb, boom, done. You put up like 20 points, 25 points, and you just hope the other team just scores less. Defensively, you just throw Jalen Ramsey against the best person. Aaron Donald just does Aaron Donald. And it's like you have all these decent guys that just like have a role. If you give Bobby Wagner big money, I mean, that's keeping you from getting that extra weapon or that extra DB. Because remember, they lost some talent on that defense this year.
Yeah, they did.
For this offseason. So, I mean, paying Bobby Wagner, I think, was the best thing Bucs fans could honestly wish for, because I think it's still a 3-team race in the NFC. I still think the Packers, if you look at their schedule, the Packers are winning 12, 13 games.
Okay, what is it about their team? I mean,
the Rams?
No, the Packers. Because
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron, okay. Yeah, never mind.
Well, Gene, here, let me pull up their schedule. Gene, they have 6 division wins every year. I mean, they generally drop one to the Vikings, in a cold game or Dalvin.
I do not even think about that factor right there. Never mind.
But that's what I'm saying. They at worst are going to go 5-1 in their division, and the hardest games are obviously versus us in the regular season, week 3, but week 1 at Minnesota, they have so much changes. Chicago, we already know Rodgers owns them. Home versus the Patriots, home versus the Giants, home versus the Jets, at Washington, at Buffalo. I'll give them a fucking loss there. At Detroit Lions, home versus the Cowboys, home versus the Titans, at the Eagles, at the Bears, home versus the Rams, probably a loss, but again, it's home in December, so who knows? And then you got the Dolphins, Vikings, and Lions to round it. I mean, that's 12 easy wins. We're maybe thinking about 2 games.
Yeah. And
See, what
Irwin.
the Bucks have is all of their hard games seem to be at home except for the one Saints game.
Yeah.
And I guess the Cardinals, but we know the Cardinals generally, statistically, year over year, they struggle once November hits.
What the hell kind
So
of
you're
schedule
playing
is
something.
this?
It's 6 of their games are so easy, but then they're also playing the AFC East and the NFC East.
I mean, it could change this year. I mean, you look at Detroit. I think Detroit's going to be better, so maybe they challenge them. I don't know, but
But that's what I'm saying. But you can realistically look at the schedule and say Green Bay is going to still win a worst case 11 games.
yeah.
Yep.
No,
I think they're
agree.
kind of like the Bucks. The Bucks worst. I think the Bucks floor, unless Brady gets injured week 4, is 11 games, 11 wins, 11-6. I think that's the floor. I think the Bucks are more realistic looking at 12 or 13 wins, 14 if everything just goes right.
Because I'm looking at this.
I would say 12.
That's where I am. 12-5. I'm happy. You're a three seed at the worst.
Yeah, probably in the same spot they were last year.
So,
and what happened? Some shit went our way, and we magically became the 2 seed and got the extra home game. Too bad we were injured.
Yeah.
But things, you're in that perfect position for shit to happen. You could even be a 1 seed with that because we know the NFC West, other than the Seattle Seahawks, are going to beat up on each other. That just happens every year. And Pete Carroll generally steals one from the Rams.
yeah.
So
True.
Hopefully Jimmy G goes to Seattle. That'd be cool.
That would be.
But Jimmy G can beat the Rams. That's the thing. I mean, until the NFC Championship game, they won 7 straight.
Yeah.
Shanahan over McVay.
Shanny. There you go.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, the Rams don't have this cakewalk that everyone thinks that they do.
Now Green Bay.
I think they're just better than everyone in their division and stuff, but that's no guarantee.
Yeah. Hey, but don't hate on Detroit. Come on.
I'm not hating. No.
Detroit I'm telling Bud in the comments.
Well, no, Detroit has and again, they're like kind of like Bucks in like 2018, 2019, where it's like everything looks aligned, like
I just like
who was their wide receiver? Amon-Ra, what's his name?
St. Brown, and then but they just got a nice speedster from Alabama,
Jamison Williams.
They have one of the best offensive lines. Jared Goff, we know if you just make things simple for him. They got 2 good running backs.
Yeah.
They got a decent defense. Like again, I don't think they're going to compete for a seed this year, but I think they're going to win 7 games.
They'll make some moves. They're going to be a problem for certain.
Remember, they almost beat the Ravens too. If it wasn't for Justin Tucker's golden leg.
Oh my God.
What was that 65-yard doink that went in?
I think.
66-yard doink that went in.
Crazy. But yeah, I like their head coach. I like Dan Campbell. I actually wanted Dan Campbell if we couldn't get Bruce Arians here. I wanted Dan Campbell to take over in 2019. I thought he's one of those guys that he's going to find success. He's got the right mindset.
Yeah.
And I think they have a good GM too. I mean, you could get on them for passing on Chase for Sewell. But I think at the end of the day, both teams are going to end up extremely happy. Chase might win that. But at the end of the day, if you can get a bookend, I mean, Bucs fans can see what a bookend can do. Even if you hated Donovan Smith, Tristan Wirfs cancels out anything you could ever say bad about Donnie.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to that game, Cincinnati and the Bucs. That's going to be fun.
I think that's the game of our schedule, and of course, it's not even a prime time. Let me see if that's CBS.
I just hope everyone's healthy for that game, and we can see.
It's a Tony Romo game, at least.
Joe Burrow versus Tom Brady. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, guys, I can't believe it's been a whole hour. We almost talked a whole hour and a half here. We will be doing this next.
That's my fault.
No, you're good, man. You're good. It's all good.
Plus, when I first joined with Gene, I think our first podcast, Gene, was like 2.5.
Yeah,
2.5 maybe.
We just kept talking.
And then it was like, okay, we got to put an hour and a half time block on it. Then it was like, okay, let's put an hour time block on it. I think it gets a little bit more rigid in season.
Yeah.
During the off season. I don't think any of our chat. Do you care if we go a couple minutes over? I'm guessing they're going to say
no, they don't care. They'll go in and out. You'll see little numbers will go up.
Caps Campbell.
All right. Well, let's do this again next week. And we're getting closer to the regular season, closer to camp, so we can have something to really talk about.
Plus, next time you're on, we're going to talk this Bengals game. We talked that main stretch. This one, I want to touch that 49ers Bengals Cardinals stretch. I think those are the fun games. I think the Bengals game is going to be like the Bills game last year, which remember the Bucs were up 21 against the Bills. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a fun season, a great schedule. I like the challenges, to start off the bat. So yeah, I can't wait. Training camp, just 2 weeks away, and
Yep.
a lot of fun times. Good competition. So I can't wait.
How sad do you think Alex Kappa is going to be when he gets in this 3-point stance and Vita Vea is right over him?
He's just gonna, he's gonna say, "Hello, old friend."
Brown stain in his shorts. 5 minutes later.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. But again, thank you, everybody in the chat. You're greatly appreciated. And we will do this again next week. Peace.